Hello everyone and welcome to the Aviation with Elliot channel. Now, if you've made the wise decision to purchase xplane 12, it's pretty easy to set up. However, there are a few things that need changing. It's a very advanced simulator, and instead of giving a long 30-minute guide, I've decided to condense it all down to 10 minutes, going through settings and add-ons nearer the end that will help you get started, free and payware. So the first thing we want to do is obviously purchase xplane 12. Now, a new update to xplane 12 is accounts. So when you buy it, you can assign your key to an account instead of having that long chain, stored on your computer to assign it. If you know what I'm talking about, you'll be given a key to activate it. But now you can assign that key to an account. So whenever you sign into xplane 12, if you sign into your account, it's automatically going to add the key in. Now, of course, if you have xplane, you're going to have xplane installer, xplane 12 installer, as we can see here. And this is where we're going to modify things. We're going to run xplane 12, add or remove scenery, pretty straightforward. You just select the regions that you want to download onto your computer. Unlike Microsoft Flight Sim, xplane 12 actually downloads to your computer instead of streaming it offline. So whatever regions of the world you download here, you'll see in real life. I recommend using it all on an SSD so your computer runs faster. However, if you're installing the whole world, it can take up space, so an external hard drive is perfectly acceptable. Update, pretty straightforward, just update it now and then. xplane 12 will prompt you, and when you update, you can use beta updates as well, which I've never had an issue with. And of course, these two are quite self-explanatory. So now we're going to hop in and change our settings. When you install xplane 12, it will ask you where you want to install it. I've just stored mine in local disk. It's pretty easy to access. It probably doesn't pop up for you here. If it does, then you're lucky, but you can also just run it through the installer. But just go to where you've stored it. You can make a shortcut by right-clicking on it and creating a shortcut. And you can put this wherever you want in your downloads or desktop folder, but for me, I just go here. This is also where the installer is located. If we just hop into xplane now. When you've entered xplane, you will be able to see in this corner, I've just blurred my username out, but you will have a username or an account sign in. Use the same email you did to assign your key to when you downloaded it, and xplane will automatically be activated. Now, we're going to go over to settings. This is quite a quick guide, but general, of course, English, flight model, frames, the fastest. I haven't changed any of these. These are kind of custom to you, if you want hypoxia, etc. And to be honest, I don't really touch these settings. They're normally pretty good for me, but this is kind of the miscellaneous. Going over sounds, this is pretty straightforward. This is assigned to my headset. Graphics, now I have a full graphics video which I will try and link somewhere above, but these get you going. This is for a 3070, kind of a mid-range computer. Text quality medium, ambient occlusions medium. You definitely want this on full resolution, otherwise this will basically down-res your xplane, so it will be like flying on a 1970s monitor or something. And the rest of the settings you can take as you will. Anti-aliasing I've increased because xplane has been known for its jaggies. However, with the new update, they seem to have vanished pretty much. Cloud quality is the one I could put up to ultra, however this will affect your FPS. Here, I would recommend removing 3D vegetation and parked aircraft unless you're doing VFR or I've learned that sim, so parked aircraft just basically decrease my FPS. Down here, full screen defaults. Obviously, you can set your field of view when you spawn in, but this is all good for me. I believe this just makes it higher. Now, in terms of settings, the way xplane seems to work is whenever you start up an aircraft, it's going to ask you to configure your joystick, every single aircraft, and that's because basically it will assign a profile to the aircraft. So for me, if I go over to the A320 customize, I have assigned, I didn't do it then, that's quite embarrassing, but the A20N, which is just the A320 Neo, and this is mode profile. What you need to do is when you first spawn in, it's going to ask you to calibrate. What you need to do is fully move all your controls around, And for me, I don't actually use the yaw because, as you can see, it's not really working. But it's just going to ensure that you're moving your controls to the full extent, and then you're just going to leave them, of course, in the center. Now you're just going to repeat this for all of your peripherals, and we're almost there. For me, there was a few issues with the toe brakes being on my throttle, so obviously if you have any issues, just scroll through your side panel and see if any of them overlap. And as you can see, for me, yours here, but as it's broken, I use rudder pedals. Just set it to none, and xplane will completely ignore that. Click on your aircraft. You can run it with engine starting. This is something I love about xplane, how customizable it is, and it just does what you say. So I decided to start with engines in Madeira. This was from my last video, when I landed in Madeira from Heathrow. Weather, of course, download real weather. It's quite good now, and the weather changes aren't too drastic. This will, of course, go from the most local weather station that xplane can get data from, and of course time, just track real world, which is what I'd normally do, but it would be nighttime in Madeira right now. Also, when you're about to start your flight, you can go over to weight and balance, of course. For the tow list, I just set this up in the EFB and flight, so not all aircraft you'll have to do this in, but a lot of the aircraft this can be useful for, especially GA flying. You've got, everything here is pretty self-explanatory. If you have a Livery flight plan, you can import all of these in. And obviously, failures are just going to be in the aircraft page before you start a flight. And set your failures. It's so customizable. You can set it whenever you want. A certain commands, and this is great for training, etc. The thing about making this video is xplane is quite self-explanatory, but here you go. You can do literally everything with xplane 12. Another thing to mention is flight controls wise. I have this would be the, I'm not sure how to describe it. It's on the back of my joystick, however. In this profile it's not set up, but when I fly the Cessna Citation, no, not rudder, there we go, replay tools. The replay in xplane 12 is amazing, a lot better than Microsoft's, to be quite honest with you. But what you can do in the replay is basically, as soon as you hop into xplane, it's going to start recording, and you have your toggle replay mode here. You can customize this how you'd like, and also what I'd recommend doing is assigning, like I just did, a toggle visibility, so that when you're flying, if you want to record something, all you have to do is click that, get rid of it, and the aircraft will still be in the replay mode. For the add-ons, these are the probably hidden gems, I suppose. Again, Auto DGS is basically going to give you a marshaller, or a VDGS, which is Visual Docking Guidance System. Yeah, I got that right. And basically, when you go to a gate, you're going to have the little person waving you forwards, or your aircraft's going to be on the screen. It's really neat, and it works pretty much everywhere. And I'm pretty sure it goes gate to gate when you go past them, so I've never really had to manually activate it. XP Realistic is the only payware. I'm not sure why that was turned off. That would have been helpful in my last video. It just adds effects. If you've got FS Realistic, then you'll know exactly what this does. It's all built in, and there are profile clouds as well. Now moving on, Xpilot. This is how you set up VATSIM. Now, all you need to do is download Xpilot. There's not much you need to do. You need to install a livery pack. I think it's called Bluebell Simulations. I will make a separate video on this. Basically, they just install all the aircraft's liveries, which are quite outdated, but it really doesn't matter for me. Better pushback. I made a video on this last time, but this is the best freeware pushback, and it is free. Most of these you'll be able to find on xplane store. X camera I have not really used, sadly. I was trying to use it for cinematics, but oh well. TOLIS, of course, this is the aircraft I'm in now, and this is any sound packs that you have. This is the Sound 3D sound pack which I've installed. Now, in terms of installing aircraft and liveries and plugins. Plugins, what we're going to do is go to resources, so find your xplane 12 file. You can also just press local disk and then type in xplane 12 and you'll manage to find it. There we go. you're going to go to resources and we're going to go to plugins. Now this is for like better pushback. This isn't for the aircraft themselves, but everything that you saw I found in the menu, like the auto DGS. Now for aircraft, go over to aircraft. You can just import them wherever you want really. xplane is going to read out of these files. I believe I put the old aircraft, my tow list just in this file, but I've created a custom one now. You've got the Zebo, Just Flights, S152 tow lists, and the 150. And for liveries wise, if you're installing for a default aircraft, you're just going to go over to Laminar. Let's say we're installing a Ryanair livery, we're going to go over to the aircraft file, liveries, and just, it's pretty simple, just drag the livery file in from xplane store. And the same goes for the aircraft that you've manually downloaded. And that is pretty much it. It's very simple to do. So if you have any issues or questions or anything you'd like me to cover, leave them in the comments. I will try and make a video for that, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.